right. Another episode of the TriStar Podcast. This time I am joined by Sidney Smith. Sidney, how you doing?
Good. Drew, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to finally get to meet you in person in the 2024 sense and get to talk to you because I've been following you for a long time on Instagram. You do a bunch of inspirational stuff and you're really active in the hunting community, and I really just wanted to pick your brain and get to know you.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, I love to talk. My wife hates that though, because when we go into Walmart, I'm a small town. I'll talk to everybody. So I can't get Walmart anymore. My wife has to leave me in the car.
Yeah, they give you that look, right? Like they're looking at you and you're just like trying not to see it, but they're giving you that shut up look. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I still do this.
Yeah. You know, as a part-time pastor, aspiring pastor, I like to talk. I like to hear myself talk and teach. And I'm the kind of guy that can walk into a room and meet you and just talk to you and just get going. But yeah, my wife can relate to your wife for sure. I guess what really drew me to you, and I guess we can go into you can give your whole origin story a little bit too, but what I really appreciate about you is that you do a ton of stuff for youth hunters, and not only youth hunters, disabled youth hunters. And I think also disabled adult hunters as well, if I'm correct. But you are taking kids and people who otherwise couldn't and making it to where they can. And like I was telling you off air, as a foster parent, I understand that, right? You're standing in the gap for somebody who can't stand up for themselves or can't do things, and you make it a possibility for them to make it. And you're taking people who other people might walk by, and you're being that good Samaritan that's, hey, let's get you out in the field and give you an opportunity that no one else is giving you. And I think that's just so admirable and heartwarming and sometimes heartbreaking seeing some of these stories that you're posting up. Tell me about that, man. Tell me about you as a person. What
Sure.
are you?
What do you want to hit first? About me?
Yeah, let's talk about you first. Yeah.
Yeah, my name's Sidney Smith, and I like to party. That's all you need.
It's my favorite movie, by the way.
Yes, I love that too.
Hot Rod is my favorite movie, hands down. I was actually him. I have a costume that I can't fit anymore because I've gotten too big. But when I was in my 20s, I was Hot Rod. I had a fake mustache back then, so I couldn't even grow one.
But now, look at you now. Look
at me now, dude, making Rod jealous.
Nope, that's a great one. No, I'm just an average, I guess the best way to explain it, I'm just an average 40-year-old man. I grew up in Provo, Utah. I currently live in Vernal, Utah. I grew up loving the outdoors, hunting, fishing, camping. My dad taught me how to hunt, and he used to hunt with my grandpa and his dad. So even at deer camp some years, I had my great-grandfather with me trying to kill 2-point muleys. And that's where my addiction for hunting started. Kids, my oldest is 15, who loves to go hunting with me and fishing, ice fishing. And then my girls love the fishing side of things as well. The only one that doesn't like to participate is the wife, but she does appreciate it when we bring meat home. I guess the one thing that stands out that people recognize me from the average Joe is when I have my pants off, not in a sexual connotation, but a literal scenario where I wear shorts. You can see my prosthetic legs. And I was born with this disease called Charcot-Marie Tooth. And what this disease is, it's just a quick rundown. It's a progressive genetic disorder in the muscular dystrophy family. And I was born with a normal body. I could do some of the things I loved, hiking and playing in the playground. But as I got older, into the end of middle school, early in that age is when it was pretty difficult to do sports. My feet would atrophy and I'd lose muscle, and then I lost structure, bones would break, and then I would wear those big old Forrest Gump braces and ironically, that's when the movie came out. So of course people tease me, "Run, Sidney, run" at school.
Middle schoolers are great. They're just so supportive,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and then as I got older, it just got so bad with the multiple surgeries, and then it got to the point where I couldn't do the things I loved. And then it got really bad where I couldn't play with my kids, and then walking was super difficult. And then when I hit 30 is where it was like the last straw. I've had 10 different surgeries and trying with plates and screws, try to fix it. And then it was my feet were so deformed that I was walking on the ankles. The ankles were my heels at that point because they had just rolled over. And that's, the doctor's like, golly, you should have came in sooner, but there's not much we could do. So in 2015 is when I had my legs amputated. So that's my story in a nutshell, what happened to me. Of course, there's been lots of ups and downs since then to get what I'm doing now. But we could talk about that if you want. But bottom line, people see what they see on Instagram, and I do like to share my story and what I do on a regular basis. But you ask my wife, I'm an average Joe. I leave my dirty clothes on the floor. I fart at the dinner table. I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm just an average guy, but I've learned some things in life, such as my faith and purpose and overcoming failures, and then ultimately the power of gratitude that's been able to get me through hard times and has given me a new set of life, if that makes sense.
That does. Yeah, it's neat. I actually had no idea. So I guess it's one of those things where maybe it's just like there's like negative connotation to asking, because you're like, oh, I don't know, shark victim? I don't know. Truck hit him? You never know. Like, I don't know. Who knows? Machinery accident? Bobcat? Grizzly bear? But so it wasn't like you just had this incident and it had to change. Like, you have been dealing with adversity your entire life.
Yeah, it's as long as I can remember. I do remember like playing on the playground and running a little bit, like early years, but after that, the time after that when I ran was when I got my prosthetic running leg. So it was like 30 years maybe at the most.
Really?
Yeah.
So I have a friend who did the similar thing. He had broken his ankle multiple times and he had ended up getting it amputated because it was just like he was better off amputating, and now he's actually way more functional, able to surf and do these things he couldn't do, ski, by doing it. So it almost sounds like you almost got a new set of legs, literally.
Correct. New set of legs, new set of life. Really, I mean, my personality is a lot different, mainly because of the things that I've had to go through, the gauntlet and the prayer. And there was a moment where suicide was, thought of and attempted, but for the most part, like, that brought me into a whole new space. And I'm not saying I'm grateful for those moments, but I did learn a lot about myself and my purpose here on life. That's where I am grateful for those dark times.
So now I don't want to go too much into the suicide stuff, but is this pre-legs or after? This is after your legs were amputated or before?
It was in between, actually.
In between, like when you knew you were going to get your legs amputated?
So I did them one at a time. So I lost the first time, and then it got infected. And so that's when I hit rock bottom, because I thought for sure that this was a constant thing that I'm going to have to deal with. My wife's going to be a caretaker, and just like, I didn't know any other amputees, so I didn't know what this process was going to be like. And so I thought at the time that my situation would get better, but when I had to start over and they actually had to amputate again on the left foot and go even higher because of the infection, that's where it was the worst of the worst, I should say.
So you are like the modern day Job. Why, at this point, you're probably even, I guess, better would be Jonah, right?
Yeah. Well,
Jonah would be, I think Jonah would be a good example, right? Like, why me, God? He takes away the plant. Like, this is ridiculous. And then, all of Nineveh comes salvation. So I'm sure in the moment you were, very angry. You were sad. You were confused. You were probably questioning, like, why me? But man, like, it's almost giving you a new lease on life, to where those two legs have done so much more without them than when you had them. That's my 10,000 view looking in, but I'm just seeing what you're doing now and the lives you're changing, the people you're getting to talk to. And you were at a prison today, or a youth detention center today, talking to kids. Like, man, Sidney 10 years ago wasn't doing that. So, man, it's like, that's pretty neat.
No, I never thought. I sometimes will sit there and fantasize, like, I wish, what would it have been like if I could have showed just a day of my life now to a guy 10 years ago. Like, I would love to see that guy's reaction I was in such a bad spot thinking that life sucks. And I did have a lot of resentment, especially towards God, because I felt, was this a curse, or why me? Woe was me. And it wasn't, even when I had the prosthetic legs for a while, I still had that in the back of my mind. It wasn't till I was competing in this Ironman race. And so, just a quick story, when I was in the hospital, I was watching the Ironman on TV, this big giant triathlon. It's a 140.6 mile race. And I was like, I just felt compelled and inspired that I would love to do that, because I know, I've heard with prosthetic legs you can, run and do some things, and did a lot of little races and trained for 4+ years to get to that point. And then when I finally competed into the Ironman, I hit this wall at the very end of the race. It's mile 133. I talk about it a lot, and I had all kinds of problems physically. I was hurt. The adrenaline wore off. I had some cuts that opened up inside my stump. It just hurt to run. Like, it went from 9 to 10 minute miles to 25, 26, 7 minute miles, which in that race you have to do it under 17 hours. And so I was looking at my watch and trying to figure out, like, at this rate I wasn't going to finish in time. And so I just started thinking mentally of the positive things that would help me not think about the pain and where I was at on that course. And I just thought of the things I was grateful for. For example, my family is one that I absolutely love, and I do a lot of things for them. They're my purpose and my inspiration, and my friends, my job that I had at the time that helped me get to this race and allow me to make this happen. And then I started thinking about, like, physical things, like my eyesight, my hands, my lungs, things I still had. And then I was working down my body, and I started thinking about my legs, and for something that I was always thought was a curse and was angry about my whole life. I just thought, this is just the way it is. This is sometimes things suck. I started thinking about my legs. Was I grateful for my legs? And because of my legs, I started thinking out, like, what has happened in my life because of it. And here I am doing this race in Florida, and I'm kicking butt. I'm doing well, and I wouldn't have done it without this scenario. And then I started thinking about the people that I've helped and inspired in my life. Then I thought about the pain that I've experienced in my life that's brought me patience and a pain tolerance. And those things have allowed me to be a better father, better husband, has got me better jobs at work because of that strength and trait that I've developed over the years. And while I was thinking of this, like, out of the blue, my legs started just going in this race. And I just started thinking, and tears coming down, and thanking God and apologizing for all the anger that I had towards him, and just being, for the first time, truly grateful and for this trial, so to speak, of having this physical pain and this disease and dealing with prosthetics. And I look at it now, and if I had to choose my life over again, I would never choose anything different. And that little energy of mental focus of gratitude is what got me across the finish line, and that's how I became an Ironman. So it's amazing what my second life has become, and it's because of just that gratitude mindset. It really, what was holding me back, obviously, was the fear and what I did not know. But even with this disability, if I was able to look at trials as an opportunity to become stronger and better and be more purpose driven, it would have dramatically changed my life earlier.
It is neat. I had this conversation with somebody recently about Tricer, and it is neat to think, like, what our plans are for our life versus God's plans for our life. How much better God's plans are than our plans. And right, you look at where you are today, and you're like, you never could have ministered or motivated people if you didn't have this thing you went through and endured. And, like, you've endured things that I can't relate to. Like, you've endured not only physical things, but I'm sure mental things and emotional things, and especially as a child going through that. But through that, being tried by fire, right? Iron, now you're able to go and use that. So now here you are, you 133, life has changed, your second life. I love that. That's really cool. Things have changed. This is what, 2018 then, I guess?
2019 is when this
2019.
happened, yeah.
And if I think you never stopped running, you probably ran back to Utah because you just, it seems 3 hit and now you're just out there just constantly helping people and doing things. So talk about that. Talk about the second life.
Yeah, so when we talk about purpose, amazing drive is because it definitely, I think God put us on this earth for many reasons. Sometimes we think we know why we're here and what we're doing, and things can change. And growing up, like I said, I love to hunt. I love to fish. It's just something that was my favorite time to spend with my dad. Like that's our bond, and I love to carry that tradition on to my son. And when I lost my legs, I wanted to pursue that still and take on new challenges such as bow hunting. That was something I never did earlier in my years. It wasn't until I became an amputee that I actually pick up a bow and start training and practicing and then got pretty good at it. And while I was focusing on hunting and doing these outdoor stuff and camping and hiking and all that, I never really thought of being different from anybody else. I didn't think about my legs. I didn't complain. It just because I was so purpose driven. If it was an elk, I wanted to hike to this point to get to it. I didn't think about, man, I wish this elk would come to me and feel bad for me because I have prosthetic legs. Like they don't do that.
Nope. You smell the same.
Yeah, they have those jerks. They don't have compassion there, and it's made me happy, and I don't think about those problems of being an amputee. Like it's like you putting on contacts. It's become the same thing for me. And about this idea, and a friend of mine, Weston, down in Texas, he had a similar idea. He had a friend, or excuse me, his cousin, who had a disease that only allowed him to live like into his late teenage years the longest. And this disease, I don't know the name of it, but it just basically a lot of his organs start shutting down. But his cousin was super set up into deer hunting, loved deer hunting, absolutely obsessed with it. He would hunt the best he can with his ability, but he's slowly losing all his ability. And after doing it for so many years, he lived into his 20s and now he's in his 30s and it's amazing. Like he's on oxygen and is in manual wheelchair or excuse me, electric wheelchair. And the doctors think this is the longest anyone has ever lived in this disease. And it has something to do with your drive and purpose. And that's why maybe hunting is a good medicine for that. And so with my thought process and what my buddy Weston thought of with his cousin, started this group called Disabled Outdoorsmen down in Texas. And it's just to have that idea of bringing people into the outdoors, introducing them into the outdoors, and get them involved in areas that they didn't think was possible. Like we constantly, with disabled people, they think, well, I have a disability, I can't do those things. And we try to provide them opportunities, we try to provide them equipment, we mentor them into areas where they can be successful and do a dream hunt. Since then, we did that for a couple of years or so, and then we've branched and grew. I'm now with a few other guys here in Utah where we have a Utah chapter, and we do the same thing where we take people with disabilities, anywhere from quadriplegics to amputees to some mental disorders. We take them elk hunting. We did about 22 to 25 big game hunts every year. We do certain events with the youth, especially. For example, we do these shed hunts where we go out and if they're under 18, we have different landowners that have offered their land, and they go out and we have these track wheelchairs or any kind of adaptive equipment, and we have a mentor there to help them go find sheds. And we get a lot of people help and donate sheds, anywhere from a 2-point whitetail deer to Yukon moose, and we have just a good old time. And like these kids will come home with 15 or 20 sheds. That one's one of our favorites. We do that one in June every year, and those are just fun events that get things going. So
that is awesome and inspiring. And when I can imagine that when these kids see you and you put shorts on, it probably makes them feel like part of something almost. Oh man, speak to that. Like, how have you been able to use that to get these kids out there? Sorry, I said, imagine when these kids see you and you're wearing shorts, they see your amputees, that probably almost makes them feel like, hey, I could do it too. Right?
Yeah, no, it's true. Like I'm out there doing the same thing with them, and I sense that they feel super comfortable because they see that, hey, he's not a two-legged freak like everybody else. He has done some amazing things, and maybe I can do it too. And it does make me feel obviously honored that someone like that would look up to me as an example like that. But bottom line, like if we can get them that little bit of inspiration, it's just amazing what they can run with. I'll share a quick story. My friend Adam, I met him a couple of years ago. We heard he was in the dumps, like my scenario, and he recently had a mountain bike accident, and it was just a super small incident. Just wasn't even like a crazy mountain bike accident. It was just like going over his handlebars, and he broke his back and became a paraplegic. So from the waist down, was unable to use his body. And Adam was a very manly man. Like he took care of his family, and now all that kind of went out the window. And because of that, he was super bummed. He felt in the dumps, and our group got word of him and talked him into coming on a dove hunt with us. And we took him. We got the birds, knew the pattern. He was able to shoot some doves. He had a good time, and he's just like, yeah, I'd like to do this again. So then, last minute, we were given from one of my landowner buddies an antelope doe tag. And for those that are in the big hunting or big game hunting world, you probably have your moose at the top of the list, maybe your ram, you have your elk, you have your deer, and then you have your squirrel. And then below the squirrel, you have your antelope doe. But he came out and he shot this one shot at 400 yards. First big game kill. It was an amazing shot. And he was like on cloud nine. You thought he would have killed like a 200-inch mule deer. Like he was stoked and pumped. And because of that moment, like a light came on, and he was so moved with this new purpose that now I'm bringing home meat that he helped. I showed him how to clean it and process it and skin it and get it taken care of. And he brought meat to the table. He fed it to his friends and his family, and they loved it. And they're like, way to go, Adam. And that was enough in that drive that he turned around and he started going hunting on his own with no help and started killing elk and deer out of his wheelchair. And then he started inviting other people with disabilities and helping out. And then he even donated to my group. He bought a wheelchair for somebody that we used. And it's amazing. Just like that little bit of purpose. It helps, especially as men, like you take away that manly instinct of bringing food on the table. That's like almost like a caveman thing. And that hit him pretty hard. But now that he realized that, hey, I have this back, he's able to do so much. So, yeah, I said purpose is huge.
That's awesome. One of my favorite quotes is true discipleship is reproducing reproducers. So if you're like the proof's in the pudding, so if you're producing people like that, that's awesome. Like you're not only like now this like what you started doing is becoming exponential, right? And you get more people doing it, and that's why you're seeing such growth. That's awesome, man. That's really cool to see you guys doing that. So enough about the kids. Not only are you doing all this awesome stuff for the kids and people with disabilities, dude, you're like in the gym, like hardcore. Like you are not a victim at all. Like you are, I see you doing some stuff and I'm like, dude, I hate doing those. I do really love your sense of humor. Like you have like calf day and stuff. Like I think it's funny that you can have that kind of like, I have that kind of morbid humor. So you trained, I can't imagine you were in as good a shape as you are now before you got your legs amputated.
No, I didn't. Before that, like bench press is what we had to do, and it was like a required class as a freshman, and I couldn't even lift the bar just because I was just this puny little freshman.
Yeah.
So, no, it was a new thing. Just training. I did triathlons, and especially this last year, I just enjoy the gym, challenging. Like you said, the things that I hate the most, or a lot of people hate lunges or balancing, but it's just there's so much benefit, especially doing the lunges, weighted lunges. It helps with my balance. Being a double amputee, it because I don't have ankles, a lot of my how I feel the ground and balance and correct uneven ground, how I correct my balance is in the hips. And so doing lunges and having that extra quad or surrounding that muscle group has paid huge benefits, especially like hiking and having running, doing that extra power stuff. So I hate them, but when I get through them and see like the progress or the reward comes when I get further than I expected in the mountains, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm glad I did them.
Yeah, I mean, and you're pretty jacked, dude. You're like flexing on me right now. I'm making fun of your arms. Like, no, I'm just. No, I mean, you're in shape. Like there's no joke way around it. Like you're in the gym and you're in shape. How? And I feel like we probably have the same goal. Like the only reason I go to the gym, and I'll go tonight after this, I try and go 4 to 5 days a week, is because I want to, especially pushing 40 now. Like I want to be able to get out and hunt. So is that your motivation, really, or is the running your motivation? Like what motivates you to do that?
It's neither.
Really?
No, yes and no. Like I do try to stay in shape year round because I do activities and hunt year round, and I do love to run. My wife's probably not going to allow me to do another Ironman for a while, so there's just other things I want to do in mountains. I've always had this goal of swimming the English Channel. Like I go to the gym because it's a mental medicine for me. If I stop, I don't want to go back to that guy who didn't work out before. I just love that endorphin release. I just love to basically enjoy this second life the best I can. That's probably the main reason why I go. My wife, I tell her, you're a 10 and I'm at best maybe a 6.5. I need to at least find ways to get hot so that way people don't think I have all this money and that's why you're married to me. But I just do it because it feels good. Like it honestly feels good to work out. But like at the same time, yeah, the hunting does come from it, especially as I get closer to backpack season. I do a lot of stairs, and I'm the nerd that will wear his XL backpack and have it weighted, and I'll go do the stairs on the Stairmaster with my backpack. So that's why I like the gym. It's just good medicine mentally.
Yeah, I do agree with, like, I've been pretty much on this whole fitness journey now since 2019. It was pre-COVID. I was very active, and then we started having kids, and just life catches up to you. It's hard. And then I started going to the gym, and it's really hard to get that routine. And once you get that routine, you don't want to break it. Like once you start eating cleaner, like it's funny how when you're working out and running and staying in shape, you don't want to eat. I do like donuts, but you want to eat healthier. You want to eat cleaner. It all goes together. So I feel like I feel a lot better as a person, healthier, and I'd much rather live like that than live like I did before, where I was drinking a couple Red Bulls a day and eating Jack in the Box and just getting by. It's nice to be in shape. It's nice to be fit, and I'd rather give myself as much of an advantage as I can versus going out there and sucking wind.
No, I'm not perfect. I love pizza.
I get heartburn like crazy from pizza. I can't do pizza. It's killing me lately.
That is my kryptonite, is pizza and cold cereal, which is so random because cold cereal is just junk. But
I'll do cereal at 9 o'clock at night sometimes.
Oh, I love it. I love it at night or after a cardio workout because it's just that quick carbs and sugar your body's just
yeah. Yeah, my wife does. She doesn't get good cereal. She gets, at the most, we might get some Frosted Mini Wheats. Mostly it's just Cheerios and really healthy stuff. My wife's a great woman. Like she if it wasn't for me, the kids would just be eating donuts. But man, some Frosted Mini Wheats at like 9 o'clock at night after the gym they're good, dude.
Have you had the strawberry ones?
No.
Oh, the strawberry Frosted Mini Wheats. It's life changing. So be careful there.
Do they have those? We just eat everything. We have 5 kids, so it's just we have a passenger van, like whatever Costco sells. Do they have them at Costco?
I don't know if they have them at Costco. I know at Walmart they sell them.
I got to go
I
get them.
bet you they have them at Costco. They're pretty popular.
I got to go get them. But yeah, no Lucky Charms in our house, regrettably, but we don't have that. What about you said your wife isn't going to let you do another Ironman anytime soon. My wife's training for a marathon,
Mhm.
or a half marathon right now. We're all gonna go down, cheer on. She's got it in 2 weeks. And man, like the time it takes to train, you go run 12 miles, even at 10 minutes a mile, that's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because she just read 12 miles on Sunday. What does training for an Ironman look like? That has to be just like your whole life.
Yeah, what I did is like right out of the hospital, once I like when the stitches healed, I went and I taught myself how to swim. I got a coach that at an organization called Challenge Athletes Foundation, and I did some underwater GoPro videos, just because like swimming there is some power and endurance, but most of it is a technique. And because I didn't have legs, I was struggling. My butt was sinking, and so I needed help with the swimming part of things. And that's initially where it started. I basically how I swim without, you can't have that in any competition.
So no fins.
Yeah, no mermaid tails.
Really? I just imagine you had to have gotten like some kind of a special dolphin tail and just kick butt.
No, that would be sweet to have a mermaid fin or something like that, or a little jet motor across that. But no, you had to go straight nubs. Like it was
Really?
tough. So basically, I had to focus my energy in my upper body, so I was hitting the water a little bit harder than normal, and that just helped me compensate where my butt was falling down. I moved my hips enough that kind of gave my stumps to raise, and so that way I was more parallel in the water, and just practicing that form over and over again. So swimming was the first part, and then biking, and then of course running. And I started off with small races. I did half marathons, full marathons, and then I did what they call sprint tries, Olympic tries, and then half Ironmans, which is 70.3. And then I took a whole year in advance to do the full Ironman. I got a coach out of Salt Lake that's worked with some Paralympians, so they had some experience with training with somebody with a prosthetic leg or prosthetic arm, how to balance that, because if I went too heavy on that, I can beat up my stumps, and then that will cause problems and my recovery doesn't go bad. But the peak of my training, building that endurance, was anywhere from 25 to 28 hours a week. It was bad. It was every morning would be about 3+ hours, sometimes during lunch or after work as well. And then Saturdays was just full almost all day. Just long 8-hour bike rides along with 10-mile run, just to get that used to your body just accepting this awful torture.
So all that training, you get to 133 and you almost quit.
Yeah, it was tough. It was just, the problem was I was going to do it no matter what, even if I had to crawl the last 7 miles. But the thing is that I had to do it under 17 hours. And so that's where I was stressed about where I was at the race. They would start pulling people off normally, but I would have fought tooth and nail because I just knew I had to do it. But at the same time, I was like, technically, I'm not an Ironman if I don't do it. I mean, I did the course, but I have to do 17 hours. And so mentally, I was just like, no, I got to find something to get me out of this hump. But no, that was tough. That actually, to rewind, I had an incident training for that race 6 months into it. So I had reached towards my peak of training, and then I was just going to start continuing with speed and endurance. But 6 months into my training, so about halfway to the race, I had another infection similar to the first one that caused me to amputate higher. Yes, I had recognized this infection. I went to the doctor, and luckily they didn't have to amputate higher, but unfortunately they had to do an incision. And I had to do surgery and drain all the infections, and I couldn't do anything for 6 weeks. So almost all my endurance that I had was gone backwards. So that was probably where I almost quit then too, or at least more so postponed it. because I thought to myself, crap, I signed up for this race and I told everybody I was going to do it. I did all this training. Maybe I'll just do the race in 2020. Like, what's the worst that can happen in 2020? I But like, I just talked to my dad and my coach and just thought it through. Like, I just invested so much time into it. And I asked my coach, I said, so is it still possible for what had happened to me that I could still do this race? And he says, oh yeah, like, it's, your run's going to be hard because we're going to probably cut back on your running and focus more on the swimming and biking. So that way you have more time to do the race itself, the running part. And because of this incision I had, I didn't want to take any chances of any infections. And then that's what got me there. Because of my heavy training, I was getting blisters from in the prosthetics, and it would cut. And then if the cut got dirty or something like that, or a bacteria got in, that's what ended up happening. It just didn't heal and didn't put that right antibiotics on a cut. I just thought I was a man. I could rub some dirt on it or something.
Yeah, I can imagine lots of dirt and sweat going down into those things.
Yeah. For sure.
One thing that was cool too is you keep saying I wouldn't be an Ironman, and then you said that nope, no fins allowed. Nope, you have to do 17 hours. They don't they don't give you any breaks for being an amputee. If you want to be an Ironman, you got to do it.
No breaks. I guess the only perk was when I got, this is down in Panama City, Florida, when I got out of the water, because I didn't have legs, they did carry me a few hundred yards from the beach. So I didn't have to crawl through the sand and have all the other racers trample over me. They did have somebody carry me up to a bench where I could put my biking legs on. That was one nice perk.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine having that sand on you too, that having to run the rest of the race with that on you.
Yes, they did, which was really funny. I did go, my wife was there because she came to this race. She was my leg caddy, so she'd bring my legs to each transition, is what we call it. And the the race director, who become good friends, he was really intrigued that I was going to be the first double amputee on his course to finish. And so he was the one that was carrying me. And so he's like, yeah, let's get you rinsed off in this room. Hurry, come follow me, so that way you can get on the bike and take off. And so we're getting to this spot, my wife's following, and she didn't realize, but we walked into the men's locker room, and we're getting undressed, and she's standing right there, and there's just naked dudes everywhere getting dressed, getting into their biking clothes, and the race director's, oh my gosh, hold on, stop, go in the back.
Oh, California, that's legal.
That's true. True. I don't know about Florida.
No, not Florida. Not with DeSantis down there. He's a good guy. That's why Trump moved there. Tell me about the hunting side of it then. You're doing some pretty hardcore hunts now.
Yeah, I enjoy the challenge. I live for mule deer hunting. That's just what I grew up. That's what I'm obsessed with. I love the glassing. I love the optics. I love just watching their pattern. And there's just something really cool about the quietness and the solitude of a mule deer buck. However, my wife doesn't like the mule deer as much as she likes the elk. And I do the elk hunting too, more so just because we love the meat. And my son loves it. He loves the thrill and the sexiness of the bugle and all that good jazzy stuff. But those are my two favorite. If I could do that forever, I'd be totally content. But I'm starting to branch out. I went on a bear hunt this last year. It wasn't successful, so I'm going back this year. And then saving some money, I think I would love to go to New Zealand. I have some amputee friends down there that go up into the mountains there and go after the tahr, which has always been something I've wanted to do. I'd love to go to Alaska. All those things are basically goals of mine to do eventually, but until then, I do have a normal 9-to-5 job, and I do speaking on the side, and I do this nonprofit charity as well. And so I got to be careful about how much time I have. Not use that. And so a lot of my time I like to spend is helping other people hunt too.
So have you hunted Coues deer?
I haven't. The gray ghost, I haven't. No, I've been invited to go out with some guys I met actually 5 or 6 years ago and he keeps bugging me every time I see him. And I am going to take him up on that because Coos deer, I love whitetail. Like it's just a cool combination of it. I don't know. They're not quite mule deer, but the fact that they live in an area such open like that, it seems exciting.
Dude, you will be ruined if you like glassing and you like the mysteriousness of mule deer. Like these deer are the most cagey animals. They're the most quiet animal. They disappear. They are, oh man, they are by far my favorite. I can't tell you enough. Like I want to hunt them. I guess you'll be the first person I tell. I put my notice in on Monday to my father that I'm leaving my family business. I'm going full-time tricer in June.
Oh, way to go.
So I'll be full-time tricer, and I cannot wait until this hunting season so I can put a bunch of time into Coos deer. Like January of 2025, I'm going to spend, I wish I would have got my over-the-counter permit for Arizona, but I just never have time to do it because I work 16 hours a day. Like I worked from 4 a.m. until 2 o'clock today, and then I drove home an hour and got on the call with you. And I'll do a bunch of tricer stuff after this. But so I didn't get the over-the-counter tag. But man, I cannot wait to spend so much time behind the glass looking for those deer and mule deer too as well. I like anything you can glass for, right? Like it's just, if you have an elk hunt where it's going to be thick, not my thing. If you have an elk hunt where I can get up high and glass a big old basin or glass a big old canyon, and I'm all about it. So any animal I can look for. I don't know if you know this. I enjoy glassing.
Yeah.
it's the company.
Yeah. I was just say, I know a tripod company that does pretty good. I agree too.
So yeah, man, the gray ghost it's where it's at, man. You got to go chase coos, and you're right there. So you're not far from Arizona, really.
No, it's a little bit of a jaunt. I mean, you're talking maybe 10 plus hours. I'm on the northeastern side, so like I'm on the border of Wyoming and Colorado in that top corner. That's where I live.
Oh, okay. I don't know so that would be a drive, but you still got to do it, man. Put in for it. I don't know if you put in for. Do you put it through New Mexico draw at all?
Yeah, I have. It wasn't successful, but they do have. New Mexico actually has a disability draw as well, so they do have that. It's with rifle, but you can do elk, mule deer, coos deer, and the
Oryx. Okay.
Yeah,
you got to put it. So that's coming. That draws in 2 weeks. So you got to put it for New Mexico, but put it for coos deer, man. You would love that hunt. That's just such a rad hunt. Now you're telling me you're in northern Utah. I am going to my first total archery challenge this year.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to Big Sky, but then I'm also going to have a booth at the Utah one. Are you going to be at either of those?
Yeah, I'll be at the Utah one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
The Utah one. Yeah, we messaged a little bit. I was at the Hunt Expo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did get to see her because I've always wanted to put hands on, because I'm a big fan of Cody Rich and he talks very highly of your stuff. And so it was very interesting how light it was, and just to watch, like, I can't remember which booth it was. Hunting pool,
yeah.
And it just was interesting to watch, like, people's reaction. And then, like, they take the spotting scope off and then put it back on and just see. Because it was trippy. You'd think something light. Because I have a really light one that I got. It's my beater. It's for, what's the name of it?
Probably a Surrey or Slick 634 or something.
No, I'm not loaded. No, it's a Vortex. It's a Vortex one.
Okay.
It's the Summit tripod.
Okay.
And it's super light. Like, it's nice because it's light in the backpack. But when you have it set up, like, it's like toothpicks on the bottom. So it was just, I've never seen a tripod where it was the opposite, where the legs were.
It just makes sense, right?
It's like me. Think of me. I'm 220. I'm on these when I have my pack or if I have elk, and I'm out walking around with my carbon feet. That's the lightest piece, is the ankle. It's this light. So I'm sitting there and I'm like trying to balance, but meanwhile my springs are like going like this. In a way, it'd be nice to be more dense there. And more.
Dude, your hip stabilizers must be insane.
Oh, that was one of the things that went out on the Ironman was both my hips. Like, to lift my leg up, I was tripping all the time. But yeah, that's the thing that sucks. And when my prosthetist that built my legs, he was telling me, now that you run, you have to do that girly exercise where you sit there and you go in and out.
Oh, that one?
Yeah. And I try not to make eye contact with anyone in the gym.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, there's a rule. You don't know how to use that one. I was down in the Dominican Republic, my wife, a couple weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, I ain't getting on that one. You use such minimal. These hotels have such minimal equipment, and I'm like, nope, not getting
Yeah,
on.
that one you can't, can't make noises. Ugh, come on. Ugh.
Nope. As long as you're not wearing your like spandex pants, I'm good. What can I expect from? I'm actually going with Cody Rich to the one up in Montana. I'm nervous as heck because I'm hoping to. I'm probably be shooting people who are way better than me. What can I expect with Total Archery Challenge?
First of all, that's cool that you're going with Cody. He is salt of the earth kind of guy. He really, his family, wonderful family. But I would say lots of arrows.
Lots of arrows,
Yeah, don't
like
like
2 dozen.
the Valkyrie arrows where you're spending they're like $50 an arrow. Have something that you're okay with losing and plan on it. Like I don't be like, oh, I'm not going to take a shot because I don't want to lose an arrow. The whole reason why you're going there is to have fun because they make shots that are hard. They make shots that are like it's like a dick move because they'll put like the vital shot right next to a stump and you look at the stump and it's just hammered with arrows. And so I would say that definitely pack like you are hunting because you're on the mountain and you do go all day in the heat. So sunscreen, bug spray, whatever, food and water. Have good. I always like to make sure I have. You don't have to worry about this, but I always bring extra prosthetic parts because I have things that can break.
Dude, I almost asked you what boots to wear. That wasn't intentional because I was thinking today. I was like, "What shoes should I wear?" Although I'm asking you, what if I should wear boots or trail shoes?
No, I would. Yeah, drill shoes would be good. Or
trail shoes are fine. You don't need to wear.
Or
okay,
like those. Yeah, I don't think you need the big Kenetrek.
You don't need to wear my Kenetrek. That's what I was wondering if I should wear those or not.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how if you have weak ankles or whatnot, but it's hot, so plan on wearing shorts and t-shirts and
really
bring a rain jacket because you obviously are in the mountains. That was the mistake I went my first year up in Snowbird, and it just downpoured. Like it was awful, and it was like a monsoon, and I was like, crap. So bring one of those. Plan on taking long bomb shots. Make sure if you have a slider. Or just there's going to be some shots that are like 80 to 110 yards, and it's just fun. That's the thing. Make sure you go with like you said. If you're going with Cody, you're going to have fun. You're going to have fun.
That thing. So they text me as I get in. I was spot number 1010 this morning. So I actually didn't even get a spot with Cody. I got a spot on Sunday morning because I'm hoping. I'm going to be there for the whole week. I'm going to go to Ryan Lamper's Archery Summit the weekend after. So I think I'm going to go up there and just stay with Cody. And I'm hoping I can weasel my way into the course somehow and get someone up there that has a spot. Because it seems like everyone just buys extra spots and shoot. And then hopefully to ride some dirt bikes that week and have some fun with it. But yeah. So 2 dozen arrows, probably good.
Are you going all week and you're going every day?
I only have one spot on Sunday because it's all I could get today. But yeah. I'm gonna try and go more than one day.
Oh, you can get by with a dozen, but bring 2 dozen. I don't know how often do you practice?
Every day right now I'm practicing, but I'm also going to Ryan's Archery Summit the weekend after. So I'm going to bring at least 2 dozen arrows with me because I got the Archery Summit the week after. So
bring that. One year I thought I was Mr. Hotshot and I did it with the recurve, and I lost all my arrows. So.
Oh man. That's awesome. So yeah, I'll see you at the one up in Salt Lake. It's not Salt Lake. It's up at this year. It's at Solitude, right?
Yeah, I've never been to that one. I've been to. I couldn't go last year because I had family reunions, but it's usually Park City or Snowbird is usually where they've been doing it.
Yeah, so we booked that. I ended up booking a house. So bringing my partner Paul and his family, and then bringing my whole family. So we're going to go up there and we're going to make a road trip out of it and drive from San Diego and do the whole thing, and then maybe a road trip back. Maybe we'll jump off from up there, maybe go up into Wyoming or something, and then drop back down, see everything, come back down here. So
it's definitely a good experience, and they make it into real life scenarios. And like the years that I go and I do a few of the Total Archery challenges, like the more confident I feel in the field, and I've actually made better shots. And it's fun, and especially if you go with a group of guys that you enjoy, and it's overall a good commodity if you haven't been.
Yeah, I imagine I always have my friends try and shoot a deer target at 600 yards because they're all long range shooters until they do that and they gut shoot it. I imagine that tack humbles you a little bit and you realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't be dropping the hammer at 85 yards or 90 yards in the mule deer.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to say names because it's just mean, but like people miss all the time. So I'm on the mountain ops team, and there's a few known hunters on the mountain ops team. And they invited us one year, and there was someone very famous that dry fired their bow in front of camera because they were just focused on this shot and didn't remember to knock an arrow, and their bow blew up. So it happens.
Dude, I once did that on a rabbit after a freaking death hike of a day. I was like almost back to camp, and I was like just pissed off, tired. I freaking dry fired my bow and blew it up.
Yeah.
It was like probably my second or third year bow hunting, and I was actually able to fix it. I had to do some like rigging and get it to work the rest of the hunt. But yeah, it was not a prideful moment for me. That's for sure. That was definitely you're probably the first person I've told. I guess my father-in-law was there, so he knows about it. But yeah, you and the rest of the world now know about it.
I don't think my neighbor listens to this podcast, but I put a hole through their camper because I was using a thumb release and I was just trying to get used to it. And I was just pulling back and I just bumped it and it went just enough to go right through it. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm trying to, like with my thumb release, I'm trying to work on not punching. So I'm working on like wrapping my thumb and then touching my fingers together, then squeezing with not pulling my thumb, but like just squeezing it. Mm-hmm. And I've had a couple times where I'm like, I need to make sure I'm pointing down range when I do this because I did it the other day and I'm shooting underneath my deer target, putting it into the wood and then losing the arrows, getting broken off. I mean, there's no getting that arrow back. So yeah, I know the thumb releases are great. I don't want to go back to like a wrist strap one, but they are touchy, man. You get it set up right. You hit it wrong, it's going.
You're right. But I will say this, once you go, I don't know, a lot of people like the back tension, but I cannot shoot anything else. I'm obsessed with a thumb release. I have to have one.
So my friend has this company called Native Archery Traditions, and he makes this wrist strap. I'll have to text you a picture of it. It's a wrist strap for your thumb release, and it ties to it, and it acts like spandex, and you can like just put it on your wrist and carry it on your wrist when you're hunting.
See,
it's
that
slick.
Would be, I'll have to talk afterwards because that was the only thing I don't like about the thumb release.
It's slick, dude. It's tied to your wrist. It's tied to your wrist, and it's a bungee where you can put it. You basically put it in there, and it's just stuck there. With the spandex. Mm-hmm. It's a really cool thing. So I might even bring some of those Total Archery Challenge for him because he's someone who's going to really help me be able to do it because he works at the bow shop.
Nice.
Oh, in there, my wife's looking at me. She wants my keys. We're over that hour mark, dude. Let's end it. Where can we find you? What are you up to? You want us to find you?
Whatever you would like. I guess like social media is obviously a great tool. I try my best to respond to messages the best I can, but yeah, if anybody wants to know what we do for the disabled hunting, Disabled Outdoorsmen USA is their national chapter, the one we do here in Utah. And we do stuff in Idaho and Colorado, Wyoming, Arizona as well for Do Utah. It's just DO_Utah. So Do Utah. That's where you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And our website is www.doutah.org. Me personally, if you're looking to, I do motivational speaking on the side or just want to see what I do. My handle is TRI_no-feet. It's the same on Facebook, YouTube, that kind of stuff. So
that's awesome, dude. What a great podcast. What an inspiration. I'm proud of what you're doing and keep it up. We need more guys like you standing in the gap for these kids and stepping up for them. So I appreciate it. It's inspiring.
Thank you so much. I was super stoked when I got this invitation. I was like, hey, I like these guys. He's super nice. So thank you.
Let's do it again, huh?
Okay. Yeah, no problem. I love it.